Beyond these barricades lies a former ranch and place of intense scientific study. A place that is reported to have a portal where interdimensional creatures, beings, and unidentified flying craft have been witnessed, where various bizarre cattle mutilations have occurred. The previous owners, farmers, fled in terror after many supernatural events had taken place. Also, the deaths of 3 farm dogs. 2 black dogs are sent out that ran down towards us by the gate, trying to scare us off. Now we are in the legal area. I'm here with Larry. He's from the Ute tribe here in the Fort Duchesne area. It's Duchesne, right?
Yes, Duchesne.
You've got to get the pronunciation right, you know. Larry, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've grown up here on the reservation. My name Larry Cesspooch. Cesspooch means white belly in Ute. And my grandpa had a big white birthmark on his tummy, and that was his Indian name. And when it came time to get all moved to the reservation and all of that, that name stuck with the rest of our family. So Cesspooch means white belly. My mother's side are Kutches. Both families, they come from Colorado. The Utes pretty much occupied Colorado and Utah, and my Kutch side, we use the eagle wing and the sweetgrass, and we do blessings, and the Creator uses that eagle wing to transmit whatever He has for whoever we're working with. And but my family's done that for I have a wing that is 3 generations, and so it's helped a lot of people plus animals and a lot of different things. So it's very powerful. It has all that power within that, and I use it for terminal people, cancer and those type of things. So that's the gift that my family has. My father also has some special gifts that are part of who I am. And so I'm going to just share with you some things I know about this area. It's recently been called Skinwalker Ranch, and I think a lot of that publicity has come from some of the books that have been generated here locally, and say that that's a spot where skinwalkers are. But I've always known that spot as there's a hill there, and we call it Dead Man's Curve. You have to go around to get to that spot. And I think that whole hill there is, we know them nowadays like portals for other dimensions. And but the stories that I recall go back from all my years of growing up in that area. I grew up in Fort Duchesne, and this location is probably about 2 miles south of Fort Duchesne. And but I've always heard people talk about red balls of fire that have come and chased tribal members on their car in that area. And I would imagine too with a portal like that that you would also get, you couldn't really control what comes through it, good or bad. And so it's a door to another dimension. And so there's a lot of different things that have happened through there. That Dead Man's Curve's got its name because we've lost so many tribal members there in accidents. And so there's a lot of spirits to me that are still kind of locked in there as well. And so it's really dangerous during the winter months especially, but I think there's a lot of other energy that's involved with those accidents when they happen there. The most recent sighting or significant thing that's come through that portal is has been a big ship, and it's flown right over the small communities down there, and hopefully you'll get a chance to talk to some of them. You were going to say something?
Yes, could you describe this ship, what people have seen?
Yeah, I guess it's bigger than their homes, so it's pretty significant size. Um, um, just that it was mammoth and just kind of made their house disappear when it flew over. A lot of lights, a lot of, well, they can tell you what their accounts are. But we had some of our sweat people came in for sweat and were saying that they'd seen that night before. And but yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I know historically our people have always just accepted those things as part of this universe, and so we've lived pretty much in harmony with anything that's come through there. And maybe some of the negative stuff, they scare our people because we don't know what it is. And but I know that has probably been there a long time. You see on native rock writing or petroglyphs that you'll see some images. I think those were visitors before us that came. And then as far as the skinwalker thing, it's come to be known as that nowadays. And
well, I understand Navajo, that's the term skinwalker from the Navajo, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And we've always called them Yagobich, no, no, that's coyote. I have to think about that.
You know.
I'm trying to think of how we say it in youth, but what it means in this part, maybe you may want to figure out what way to say it, but we say that it's Navajo people because a lot of, even they will tell you that there are things that go on down there. But I remember a long time ago asking my mother, because they had heard or seen things around, and I remember asking her, and she said there are people that use maybe the dark side to acquire what they want. So maybe it's money, maybe it's love, whatever. And nowadays we call them a cult or something like that. But from my understanding, this has gone way back to my grandpa's generation, prior to that, so it's been around for a long time. But he said he met a girl at one of the boarding school, a Navajo girl, real pretty, and that school was out, and of course they went home. And one evening there was a knock at the door, and it was her. And he said, "Well, what are you doing here? And how'd you get here?" And I guess they went and talked and walked and whatever. But it started to get dark, and she said, "Well, I'm going to have to go now."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Well, how are you going to go?" And she didn't say anything, and so she left, but she said, "I'll be back to see you in a few days." And sure enough, she kept doing this. And his parents said, "Who is that girl, and where's she coming from, and stuff?" And but I guess, and it's not just women, it's men too. It depends. I think a lot of it is seeking something, whether it's money. Some people are after money. Some are after love. I think a lot of it is that, thinking they love this person, so they go try to make them love them. And even they'll take hair and things to try to possess.
It sounds like a lot like voodoo or
Right,
witchcraft, that
right,
kind of thing.
right,
Some
right.
similar kind of thing.
Right. And so, I understand that. Just like there's a lot of other things that we just don't talk about. But I wanted to talk about those things because I wanted to set what the record straight as far as I know it, as far as skinwalkers, werewolves, any of that kind of stuff. And then this portal down there, that's what's coming through there. But I'm a pipe carrier, and those times that I've had families come and ask me for help because something's bothering them, I will load my pipe, which is the creator. That's his tool. And I will go there and I will smoke and smudge the house, smudge the people. And that's as good as it gets. You cannot control what's out there. There's so much out there.
Right.
And all you can do is just take care of yourself. It may be right here, but it can't do anything because you have control of yourself.
Right.
And when you don't have control is when they can hurt you.
Right, so someone with a lot of fear, they're probably gaining even more control. Now, when I was sitting on your couch a little earlier, I felt something come up and touch me on my right arm.
That was my partner. She passed away here in November. So she comes around, she'll do that with me, just kind of touch me. And a lot of times when I'm working, there'll be just that,
What kinds of, maybe creatures or entities or craft that you have personally witnessed yourself, if you feel comfortable discussing that?
Sure. Back in 1969, it was our last football game of the season down in Moab, Utah. And like a lot of guys, we were going to go celebrate after, and so we had a friend check us out, saying we were with our parents and had all that permission. And anyway, we went out to Dead Horse National Monument, which is maybe about 8 miles out of north of Moab, to Dead Horse National Monument, and drove back in there about 10 miles, and we're drinking some beer, and we were on this little Volkswagen bus, big 4 or 5 big football player guys, and we're sitting out on the Volkswagen sipping suds, and all of a sudden this thing come over the horizon there. It was nighttime. You had moon, but you could tell something was there. It was transparent, sort of like a bubble,
Mm-hmm.
and it would change from green to blue and red hues, and but it was transparent to where you could see through and see the stars, and you kind of had to look to see if you really seen something.
Mm.
But there were lights around the middle part of it that you could, when it moved, you'd see those lights move. And it's almost like the movie Alien, how he can go transparent.
Oh,
But you see him, it's
like in
almost like a
Predator.
water. Yeah,
Right,
Predator.
right, right.
Yeah, like the Predator. And it could change like that. And we all seen it and looked at each other, tossed our beers, jumped in that little Volkswagen, all of us trying to
Yeah.
squeeze through the door. And it would come up every now and then to just kind of see where we were at. And as we got to the main road, it just came up and shot straight up, and that was it. So ever since that time, I really believe anything that we experience is part of what makes us whole. And so, being a pipe carrier, my fourth bowlful or fourth load is what I say to those, we call them extraterrestrials, but they're just other beings. To think that we're the ultimate in the universe is really small thinking. And just like this portal, those things have been there for ages. And so I think you are privy. They choose who they appear to, and sometimes it feels like you're drawn to it, and you don't know why, but you.
Yeah.
And then you have this experience. Um, but my whole life has been like that with spiritual things, and it's this gift. So I take care of all the spiritual things for my family, and then whoever I take care of when the sweat lodges here, we sweat every other Sunday. And so all those things, I think, for me, keeps me grounded.
Yeah.
To where negative things know that there's no chance or a waste of time. And so when I go out and help people, I also have to face that other side.
Yes.
And when I know what I have behind me with all my help, I'm not afraid. But those other things, they know it will scare you.
Yeah.
And they will come in those forms and yeah.
I don't know if you're at leisure to say this, but has anybody ever been killed or seriously injured by any of these forces that you can mention?
Well, it's like I say with that dead man's curve. I think maybe some people have seen things, or maybe the accident has happened because of something. But I mean, slippery road and that curve, it's easy to slide right off.
Ice or anything like that. Yeah.
But there's been so many other accidents that have happened there that you just kind of wonder. Then those people have been chased by things. I myself, we were probably in junior high, and we grew up down on the river that was behind our place there in Fort Duchesne. And our grandparents and parents used to always say, "You guys don't go down to that river at night. There's spirits down there." So, we're not afraid of no spirits. And we went and made some torches, and there was about 4 or 5 of us guys, and we start down towards the river, and there's a footbridge that went across the river, and things were always being seen through there. From the old fort days, and all the old Utes used to live down on that river. And so as we started down off this hill towards the footbridge, there's like a white post that somebody had put there. It was like a fort, but they cut off the forks so it's just like a Y. And as we start to get close to that Y, maybe about 100 yards or so, this light comes, and it's about the height of a person, and it's not like a light bulb, but it's light. It's hard to explain. And it's not a bright light, but it's almost like those lamps.
The miners' lamps.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
kind of like that. It wasn't a bright light, but like a flame. But yet it was circular, and this thing started coming towards us on this road. And we all look at each other, and then about that time a big gust of wind comes and it blows out the torches, and this thing is coming. And a couple jump to one side and the other on the other, and this thing just goes by us and goes up the road.
So it just pretty much ignored you.
Yeah. And oh man, we crawled over each other running to get back home. Got back home, told the parents, and they said, "See, we told you, don't go down there. There's good and bad stuff down there." But we've always grown up with things, and I mean, it's just like you and I talking. I have stuff come through here just like you being touched before. I have things that tell me this is going to happen, and I don't like it, but that's all part of this gift, because I don't want to know. I don't, and especially like terminal people, you just watch them go from being healthy to gone. But that's what you said you would do.